Marcus had traveled many light years from Earth, wandering through the stars and visiting strange new worlds. He was a quiet man with curious eyes and a gentle heart. Today, he found himself on Arian 5, a frontier planet known for its busy markets and colorful crowds. The planet was far from home, but Marcus liked the feeling of new places, the new smells, sounds, and faces. The market on Arian 5 was unlike any Marcus had seen before. Stalls were packed with unusual things: glowing fruits that shimmered in the sunlight, fabrics that changed colors when touched, and gadgets that hummed softly in the hands of their owners. Aliens of many shapes and sizes moved among the stalls, speaking in voices strange yet musical. Marcus walked slowly, watching the people around him. He was hungry but had only a little food left in his bag. His last small treat, a single piece of chocolate, was folded carefully in a tiny wrapper in his pocket. He thought about saving it for later but didn't know how long later would be. As Marcus moved through the crowd, he noticed a small figure sitting alone near the edge of the market. She was a young girl, no more than 7 or 8 years old, with skin that shimmered blue like the surface of a calm lake. Her eyes were large and round, filled with a soft light. She looked tired and very hungry. Marcus stopped. He watched as the girl's stomach rumbled softly, and her thin hands rubbed it, trying to hide her hunger from the busy market around her. She didn't cry or complain. She just sat quietly, hoping someone might help. Marcus's heart ached. He remembered times in his own life when he felt alone or scared. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the small piece of chocolate. It wasn't much, but it was all he had. He walked slowly toward the girl, who looked up with surprise when she saw him coming. Marcus knelt down to her level and smiled gently. "Here," he said softly, holding out the chocolate. "You can have this." The girl's eyes grew wide. She looked at the chocolate as if it were the most precious thing in the universe. Then she smiled, a small, shy smile that showed hope. Marcus watched her unwrap the chocolate carefully. She took a tiny bite and then looked at him again. "Thank you," she whispered in a voice that was quiet but full of warmth. Marcus nodded. "You're welcome. My name is Marcus." She nodded back but did not say her name. Nearby, some of the market visitors noticed the scene. They paused and looked at Marcus and the girl. The air seemed to change, as if the simple act of sharing had made the busy market a little softer and kinder. Marcus sat down next to the girl, feeling a strange but happy connection. The market continued to hum around them, but for a moment, nothing else seemed to matter. The girl took another small bite of the chocolate. Marcus could see how much she needed it, not just the food, but the kindness behind it. Suddenly, a young alien boy approached quietly and sat near the girl. His skin was a pale green, and his eyes were full of curiosity. He looked at Marcus and then at the girl, as if trying to understand what was happening. Marcus smiled again and nodded. "It's okay," he said. "There's enough to share." The boy smiled back, and soon more children came closer, their eyes bright and hopeful. Marcus realized that the girl was not alone. She had friends, and they were hungry too. He reached into his bag, but it was empty except for some small scraps. His last chocolate was gone, but he didn't feel sad. Something inside him told him this moment was more important than any food or treat. One of the children touched Marcus's arm gently. "Thank you," the child said simply. Marcus looked around. The market felt different now, full of stories and lives that were connected by small moments like this. He thought about how humans and aliens could live so far apart yet share the same hopes and kindness. As the suns of Arian 5 began to set, casting a warm glow across the market, Marcus stood up. The children smiled and waved, their faces shining with happiness. Marcus took a deep breath. He didn't know what would come next, but he knew one thing for sure. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness could change everything. He walked away slowly, feeling the new hope growing inside him. Marcus stood quietly near the market stall, watching Lyra hold the small piece of chocolate in her hands. The dark, rich treat was unlike anything she had ever tasted before. Her blue skin seemed to glow softly in the light, and her large eyes grew even wider as she took a small bite. For a moment, the busy sounds of the market faded, and all Marcus could see was her innocent smile. Around them, the market was full of life. Aliens of many shapes and sizes moved between stalls, selling strange fruits, glowing fabrics, and machines that hummed softly. The smell of spices mixed with the fresh air of the planet, and the chatter of many voices filled the space. But none of that mattered to Marcus and Lyra. The simple act of sharing the last chocolate in his pocket had created a quiet, warm moment between two strangers from very different worlds. Lyra looked up at Marcus with gratitude, her eyes shining with happiness. She whispered a soft word Marcus did not understand, but her meaning was clear. She held the chocolate close and then slowly shared small pieces with the few friends who had stayed near her. Each of them took the tiny gifts carefully, their faces lighting up with a mix of surprise and joy. Word began to spread through the market, not because anyone was shouting or making a scene, but because kindness is a language everyone understands. A tall, green-skinned alien with long arms approached cautiously. She watched Marcus and Lyra, curious about the human who had given away his last treat to a starving child. Nearby, others started to slow down, whispering to each other as they saw the strange human's simple gesture. Marcus noticed the growing attention but didn't feel uncomfortable. Instead, he felt a strange kind of warmth inside, as if the act of giving had opened a door to something bigger than himself. As the crowd around them grew, Marcus took a deep breath and began to speak softly. "I'm Marcus," he said, holding out his hand gently. "I'm just passing through. I saw she needed help." The green-skinned alien smiled warmly. "I am Vela," she said in a voice as soft as the wind. "You are kind, Marcus. Few humans are like you." Marcus was surprised. "Thank you, Vela. I guess sometimes people forget that a small thing can mean a lot." Vela nodded. "Here on Arian 5, many struggle every day. Food is not easy to find. Your kindness is rare and precious." Marcus looked at Lyra again. She was sitting quietly now, feeling full for the first time in a long while. Her friends around her smiled as well, their eyes full of new hope. "Maybe you would like to come with us," Vela said suddenly. "Our community is nearby. We have food and shelter. We could share more with you." Marcus hesitated. He had planned to continue his journey alone, but the invitation felt sincere. More than that, he felt a desire to learn about these strange new people and their lives. "All right," Marcus said after a moment. "I'd like that." Vela led the way, and Marcus followed. The market began to fade behind them, replaced by wide fields of strange plants and softly glowing rocks. The air was cooler here, and the sky above showed two suns slowly setting, casting long shadows across the ground. As they walked, Vela told Marcus about her people. "We are called the Zilari," she said. "We come from the far side of this star system. Our home was lost many years ago, so we have lived here as refugees. It is not easy, but we help each other." Marcus listened carefully. He thought about the struggles he had faced in his own life, the times when he felt lost or alone. Here, on this distant planet, he saw a mirror of those feelings in Vela and her people. When they arrived at the Zilari settlement, Marcus was surprised. The homes were made of shining materials that caught the light, and small gardens grew bright fruits and vegetables. Despite the rough conditions of the planet, the place felt alive and full of hope. Inside the main hall, a fire burned gently in a large stone hearth. Aliens of many ages gathered, sharing stories and laughter. Children with skin colors of blue, green, and purple played quietly in the corner. Vela introduced Marcus to many of her friends. They all greeted him warmly, curious about the human who had shown such kindness. Marcus felt nervous but welcomed. Soon, Elira entered the room. She was taller than most Zilari, with smooth silver skin and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of the stars. Her presence was calm and strong, and when she saw Lyra safe and happy, her expression softened. "Mother," Lyra said softly, running to her side. Elira turned to Marcus with a polite nod. "You are the one who gave my daughter food?" she asked gently. Marcus smiled. "Yes, ma'am. I saw she was hungry, and I wanted to help." Elira studied him for a moment. Then her eyes softened. "It is a rare thing for a human to show such care," she said. "Thank you." The settlement shared a simple meal that evening. Marcus tried foods he had never seen before, fruits that tasted sweet and spicy, and bread made from strange grains. The Zilari spoke of their hopes for peace and safety on Arian 5, despite the many dangers of the wild planet. As the night grew darker, Marcus felt a deep connection with these people. He realized that kindness was a universal language, and small acts could build bridges between worlds. Later, as he lay under the stars, Marcus thought about the chocolate he had given away. It was just a small piece, but it had started something important, a friendship, a chance for understanding, and maybe even hope for the future. Marcus had just started to feel comfortable among the small group of alien children when a quiet hum spread through the crowd. The noise was soft but strong enough to make everyone pause and turn their heads. It was the sound of footsteps, slow and steady, moving with a calm authority. Marcus looked up and saw a tall figure approaching from the edge of the market. The sunlight caught her silver skin, making it shine like a polished metal surface. Her eyes were deep and wise, like the stars themselves held their secrets there. She moved with grace and strength, her presence demanding respect without a word. The children immediately quieted, and Lyra, the blue-skinned girl who had accepted Marcus's chocolate, stood up quickly. She ran to the woman, her eyes bright with relief. "Mother," Lyra said softly, holding onto the woman's hand. Marcus watched the scene carefully, feeling a mix of curiosity and respect. The woman knelt down to Lyra's level and smiled gently. Then her eyes moved to Marcus. "You are the one who gave food to my daughter," she said in a calm voice that carried warmth and a quiet power. Marcus nodded, standing up straight. "Yes, I gave her the last piece of chocolate I had." The woman's expression changed slightly, not with anger, but with something softer, something like understanding. "I am Elira," she said, "mother of Lyra and a member of our community's council. Your kindness is unusual for many humans I have met." Marcus smiled shyly. "I don't want to be different. I just want to help." Elira studied Marcus for a moment longer, then gestured toward the small settlement beyond the market. "Come with me. We will share food and stories. Your kindness deserves more than a moment." Marcus felt a sudden warmth inside. He was not alone anymore, and the kindness he had offered was opening a new door. As they walked, Elira told Marcus about her people. "We are called the Zilari," she explained. "We once lived on a beautiful planet, but it was destroyed by a great disaster. We have traveled for many years, searching for a new home. Arian 5 is harsh, but we make it ours with hope and hard work." Marcus listened closely. He thought about his own home on Earth, the places he had visited, and the many kinds of people he had met. He realized that even far from home, kindness was the same everywhere. When they reached the Zilari settlement, Marcus was amazed. The homes were built from smooth, shining stones that reflected the light of the two suns. Gardens with strange, glowing plants grew between the buildings, and soft music drifted through the air. Inside one of the homes, Elira prepared a meal. The food smelled sweet and spicy, different from anything Marcus had eaten before. As they sat down, Elira invited Marcus to tell stories of Earth. Marcus talked about his planet's oceans, mountains, and forests. He told them about the people who lived there and how they loved simple things like chocolate. Lyra listened closely, her eyes wide with wonder. She asked many questions about Earth and the humans who lived there. Elira smiled and said, It is good to share our stories. They'd bring us closer, even across the stars. Later, Elira took Marcus outside to show him the stars. The sky of Arian 5 was filled with bright lights, different constellations than he knew, but beautiful in their own way. Your kindness has touched our hearts, Elira said softly. You remind us that no matter how far we travel, the best part of any world is its people. Marcus felt proud but also humble. He thought about the small piece of chocolate he had given Lyra and how it had led him here, to new friends and a new understanding. As the night deepened, Marcus knew his journey was changing. He was no longer just a traveler passing through. He was part of a story that would bring hope and friendship between humans and Scifi. The small act of kindness had become a bridge between worlds. The morning sun rose slowly over the Scifi settlement, casting soft light over the glowing gardens and smooth stone homes. Marcus woke early, feeling a strange mix of excitement and curiosity. Yesterday's kindness had opened a door to a world he never imagined. Now he was eager to learn more about the people who had welcomed him so warmly. Elira was waiting outside when Marcus stepped out. Her silver skin seemed to glow in the morning light, and her eyes held a calm kindness that made Marcus feel at ease. "Good morning, Marcus," she said softly. "Today, you will see more of our ways. We believe that sharing our culture brings us closer." Marcus nodded. "I want to understand. I want to learn." Elira smiled and gestured for him to follow. They walked through the settlement, where Scifi of all ages were already busy with their daily tasks. Children laughed as they played games with glowing stones, and adults worked carefully in gardens or repaired buildings. "The Scifi have many traditions," Elira explained. "We value family, community, and respect for the planet that now supports us." Marcus watched as a group of Scifi gathered near a large tree with shimmering leaves. One of the elders began to sing a soft, melodic song that seemed to float on the gentle breeze. The song told a story of their long journey across the stars, their loss, and their hope for a new home. Marcus felt moved by the music. Though he did not understand the words, the feelings were clear: loss, courage, and hope. Later, Elira brought Marcus to the garden where the Scifi grew their food. The plants looked unlike anything Marcus had seen. Some glowed faintly, others changed colors when touched. Elira explained how the Scifi used the planet's unique energy to help their crops grow strong. Marcus reached out to touch a bright blue fruit hanging from a low branch. Elira smiled. "You may try it." He bit into the fruit and tasted a burst of sweetness mixed with a light tang. It was delicious and fresh, unlike any fruit from Earth. "This planet is tough," Elira said, "but it gives us gifts if we care for it." Marcus thought about how humans sometimes forgot to protect their own planet. Here, the Scifi lived in harmony with their new home. As the day passed, Marcus joined in many activities. He helped tend the gardens, learned to weave simple fabrics from glowing fibers, and listened to stories told by the elders about their past. One story spoke of a great storm that had forced the Scifi to leave their home planet. It was a frightening time, but the people had stayed strong by trusting each other. Marcus felt inspired by their courage. He realized that no matter where someone came from, hope and friendship were what mattered most. At midday, Elira invited Marcus to share a meal with her family. They gathered around a low table filled with colorful dishes, some cooked, others fresh and raw. Marcus tried new flavors: spicy roots, soft breads made from strange grains, and sweet drinks that bubbled gently on his tongue. Lyra watched Marcus eat with curiosity and then offered him a small bowl of fruit she had picked from the garden. "Thank you, Lyra," Marcus said warmly. "This is wonderful." The meal was more than food. It was a celebration of connection. Marcus felt a deep sense of belonging, as if he had found a second family among the Scifi. After eating, Elira took Marcus to a quiet place near the edge of the settlement. The twin suns of Arian 5 were high in the sky, casting long shadows and warming the ground. "Marcus," Elira said, "your kindness has given us hope." but there is much more to learn between our peoples. We must share our knowledge and build trust." Marcus looked into Elira's wise eyes. "I want to help," he said. "If sharing our stories can bring peace, I will do it." Elira smiled. "Then we have much to teach and much to learn. Together, we can make this world better." As the afternoon sun moved across the sky, Marcus and Elira began to plan ways to connect their people. They talked about trade, education, and even celebrations where humans and Zilari could meet and share their cultures. Lyra ran up, holding a small woven bracelet made from glowing threads. "For you, Marcus," she said shyly. Marcus took the bracelet with a smile. "Thank you, Lyra. I will wear it always." The bracelet was simple but beautiful, a symbol of friendship and trust. As evening approached, Marcus sat outside the settlement, watching the twin suns set. The sky turned shades of orange and purple, and the stars began to appear. He thought about the journey ahead. There were many challenges, but also many possibilities. The small act of sharing his last piece of chocolate had led to something greater, a chance for two worlds to come together. Marcus knew that this was only the beginning. The future was bright, and with kindness and understanding, anything was possible. The peaceful days in the Zilari settlement continued as Marcus learned more about their life and traditions. The growing friendship between Marcus and the Zilari felt like a new hope for the future. But, as always, the wild planet of Aryan 5 held surprises. One morning, Elira came to Marcus with a serious look on her face. The twin suns were still low in the sky, but the soft winds carried a strange warning. "Marcus," Elira said quietly, "a great storm is coming. It is unlike any we have seen before." Marcus frowned, concerned. "How do you know?" "Our elders have watched the skies for years," Elira explained. "They see the winds changing, and the clouds are growing heavy and dark. If the storm hits us hard, it could damage our homes and gardens." Marcus nodded, understanding the danger. He had faced storms before on Earth, and he knew how quickly a strong storm could destroy everything in its path. "We must prepare," Elira said. "But we will need help. This is a challenge for all of us." Marcus felt a strong desire to help. "What can I do?" Elira smiled softly. "Your skills and ideas will be valuable. We will work together." News of the approaching storm spread quickly through the settlement. The Zilari moved with purpose, securing their homes and gathering supplies. Children were brought inside, and adults worked in teams to protect the gardens and the food stores. Marcus joined the effort, using his knowledge from Earth to help strengthen the buildings. He showed the Zilari how to create simple barriers to stop the wind and water from entering their homes. Elira and the community listened carefully, eager to learn. As the day went on, Marcus and Elira led groups of Zilari to clear debris and check the safety of the weaker structures. They worked side by side, sharing ideas and encouraging each other. Lyra stayed close to her mother, watching the busy preparations with wide eyes. When she saw Marcus working, she smiled and ran over to help carry small tools. "Thank you, Marcus," she said simply. Marcus looked at her and felt a wave of hope. This storm was not just a test of their strength, it was a chance to prove their unity. That night, the skies darkened and the first winds began to blow. The twin suns disappeared behind thick clouds, and a cold rain started to fall. Marcus stood near the largest shelter with Elira and others. The wind howled around them, but inside the shelter, there was a feeling of safety and community. "We are ready," Elira said. "Together, we are strong." Hours passed as the storm raged. Outside, the wind beat against the walls, and thunder shook the ground. But inside, the Zilari and Marcus stayed calm, sharing stories and songs to keep their spirits high. Marcus thought about the journey that had brought him here, the small chocolate he had given Lyra, the kindness he had shared, and the friendships he had made. When the storm finally passed, the first light of dawn broke through the clouds. The air was fresh and clean, and the twin suns began to shine again. Marcus and Elira stepped outside with others to see the damage. Some trees had fallen, and parts of the gardens were flooded, but the homes had held strong. "We did well," Elira said, her voice full of pride. "Your help made a difference." Marcus smiled, feeling a deep connection with the Zilari. "We did it together." The community quickly began to repair the damage. Marcus helped carry water to dry the fields, and the Zilari worked with new energy, knowing they were not alone. As the days passed, Marcus and Elira planned how to prepare better for future storms. They talked about building stronger shelters and sharing knowledge between humans and Zilari to keep everyone safe. One evening, as the twin suns set in brilliant colors, Marcus sat beside Elira and Lyra. The small family had grown, and Marcus no longer felt like a stranger. Lyra looked up at Marcus and smiled. "Thank you for staying," she said softly. Marcus felt warmth fill his heart. "I'm not leaving," he said. "There is more to do here, and I want to be part of it." Elira nodded. "You have become one of us, Marcus. Together, we will face whatever comes." Under the glowing stars of Arian 5, Marcus knew that this shared challenge had changed everything. It was not just about surviving the storm. It was about building a future where humans and Zilari could live and grow together. And that future looked bright. Days passed after the great storm on Arian 5. The Zilari settlement was alive with energy and hope. Marcus moved among the people like one of their own, sharing laughter, work, and dreams. The bond between him and the Zilari had grown deeper. He no longer felt like a visitor, but part of a family. One morning, Marcus stood by the glowing garden, watching the twins' suns rise slowly. The bright light touched the plants, making their colors shine even more beautifully. He thought about everything that had happened since he met Lyra and Elira, the kindness, the friendship, and the hard work they had shared. Elira approached quietly, her silver skin glowing softly in the morning light. "Marcus," she said, "you have done more than help us survive. You have reminded us why hope is important." Marcus smiled. "Hope comes from kindness, and kindness can come from anyone, from any world." Elira nodded. "True, your presence here has made our community stronger." The two stood in silence, watching the sun rise higher. Then Lyra ran up to them, carrying a small basket of bright fruits. She smiled and handed the basket to Marcus. "For you," she said shyly. "Thank you for being my friend." Marcus took the basket with a warm smile. "Thank you, Lyra. You are a good friend too." The day was filled with activity. Marcus helped teach some of the Zilari children how to read symbols from Earth, while Elira showed him how to prepare new meals from Arian 5's unique plants. Together, they planned ways to improve the settlement and make life easier for everyone. Later, as the suns began to set, Marcus sat with Elira and Lyra outside the settlement. The stars started to appear in the darkening sky, sparkling like tiny diamonds. The quiet night held a peaceful feeling. "Marcus," Elira said softly, "we are far from home, but we have found family here. You have become part of that family." Marcus looked at Elira and then at Lyra, feeling a deep happiness. "I never expected to find this," he said. "But now I know that kindness can bring worlds together." Lyra smiled and reached out to hold Marcus's hand. "Will you stay with us?" Marcus nodded. "I want to. There is so much more to do." Elira smiled warmly. "Then we will work together. Build a future where humans and Zilari live side by side in peace." The days turned into weeks. Marcus and the Zilari faced challenges, but they did so together. When crops needed tending, Marcus was there. When children needed stories, he was there. When the settlement needed ideas, Marcus shared what he knew from Earth. One afternoon, Marcus stood on a small hill overlooking the settlement. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky with oranges and purples. The air was warm, filled with the sounds of laughter and life. Marcus thought about how far he had come. From a lonely traveler with only one piece of chocolate to share, he had found a new home and new friends. A soft voice called his name. It was Lyra. "Marcus," she said, "look." Marcus turned to see her pointing to the sky. Above them, the stars were bright and clear. Among them, a small human spacecraft glided silently, a reminder of the vast universe beyond Arian 5. "Your people," Lyra said quietly. "They are out there." Marcus smiled. "Yes, but now my place is here, with you." The night grew darker, but the stars shone brightly over the settlement. Marcus felt a strong connection to this new world and the people who had welcomed him. He understood that the true strength of any world was not its technology or power, but the bonds between its people, no matter where they came from. Kindness and friendship could unite them. As Marcus looked up at the stars, he made a silent promise to continue building bridges between worlds and to never forget the simple power of a small act of kindness. The days on Arian 5 passed like the gentle flow of a calm river. Marcus had become a familiar face in the Zilari settlement. His laughter blended with the children's, and his stories filled the quiet evenings. He no longer felt like a traveler passing through. He felt like he belonged. One morning, Marcus stood at the edge of the settlement, watching the twin suns rise. The sky was painted with soft shades of orange and pink, and the air was fresh with the scent of strange, glowing flowers from the gardens below. The peace of the moment filled Marcus's heart. Elira approached quietly. She stood beside him, her silver skin glowing in the early light. "Marcus," she said, "you have become part of our family. Your kindness has changed us all." Marcus smiled gently. It was just one small piece of chocolate. Elira laughed softly. "Small things can start big changes. You showed us that kindness crosses all stars and planets." Just then, Lyra ran up, her blue skin shining brightly. She held a small woven bag in her hands and handed it to Marcus. "For you," she said shyly. Marcus opened the bag carefully. Inside was a collection of small gifts from the Zilari: glowing stones, colorful threads, and a tiny jar of sweet honey from their gardens. "Thank you, Lyra," Marcus said warmly. "I will treasure these." The day went by with quiet happiness. The settlement buzzed with life as people worked, played, and shared meals. Marcus helped Elira teach the children new games and told stories of Earth's stars and oceans. As evening came, the community gathered for a celebration. It was a new tradition, an event where humans and Zilari shared food, music, and stories. The air was filled with laughter and the soft sounds of strange musical instruments. Marcus looked around at the faces of his new friends, faces from many worlds, united by hope and kindness. He felt a deep sense of pride and joy. Later, as the stars appeared in the sky, Marcus stood with Elira and Lyra near a fire. The warmth of the flames flickered on their faces. "Marcus," Elira said, "you have changed our world. You remind us that no matter how different we are, we can come together as one." Marcus nodded. "I believe that too. And this is only the beginning." Lyra smiled up at him. "Will you stay with us?" Marcus looked into her hopeful eyes and knew the answer. "Yes, I will stay. This is home now." The night grew quiet, but the stars above seemed to shine brighter than ever. Marcus knew that the small act of kindness, the chocolate he had given a hungry girl, had grown into something far greater. It had built a bridge between worlds, a bridge of friendship, hope, and a new beginning. Marcus looked up at the sky and made a silent promise to carry that kindness with him wherever he went. Because in the vast universe, sometimes the smallest things make the biggest difference.